Hi, this is Manish, and in this video, I'm going to discuss about the SCCM application deployment L3 level skill. If you wanted to become the expert in deploying the SCCM application, or I would say that escalation level engineer or L3 level skills to achieve for the application deployment, you need to understand about the 4 pillars of the application deployment, that is requirement, detection, dependency, and supersedence. I'm also going to show you a flowchart which will show you how this application is received at the client side, how discovery happens, and what are the information which you can see in the log file, and the precise information you should be checking into the log file, and which log file will give you what information. So I'm just going to cover 5 demos explaining each and everything that how the things will move forward. So these are the 4 pillars of application deployment. So first pillar is called the requirement. So requirement is nothing but a check of the applicability. For example, you're deploying an application and which requires a minimum 8 GB of RAM or something minimum 256 GB of disk space. I'm just giving you an example. So those kind of things are available in the requirement feature, and this is the minimum thing to be offered, the minimum setting for the device before that application can be offered. So these are the requirement, are the inbuilt rules. If those inbuilt rules are not sufficient, you can create your custom rules as well, which requires PowerShell script. So I'm just going to cover that inbuilt versus custom. So stay tuned. Second is the detection. The detection method is the way how that application is detected on the device. So it's a very important thing, because when you deploy an application, it requires that for the verification if whether that application is present or not. If detection happens, if application is present, then this application is not going to be deployed once again, because SCCM application deployment does the evaluation every 5 or 7 days, whatever you have set into the SCCM client agent. So detection logic is very important. So again, the detection logic can be inbuilt, where the MSI code, you can use MSI code or registry keys. There are file folder locations with the version, or you can still use a PowerShell script if you are looking for a much more complex. So I'm once again going to cover the PowerShell script for the detection logic as well. So requirement and detection method, these are the 2 things where the PowerShell scripts can be used for the custom logics. Third pillar is dependency. So dependency means if you are trying to deploy an application, and you can create a dependency that this application is dependent on some other application. By using a dependency feature, you can target other application also part of your base application. For example, you are trying to install a plugin. Think about it, that Outlook plugin, but that plugin can only be installed if Outlook or Office is installed. So you can force Office installation also with the plugin by using a feature called dependency. Finally, the supersedence. Supersedence is a simple feature. Supersedence means you're deploying a new version of an application, and which is superseding the old version, which is eventually going to uninstall it and will be reinstalling the new version. You might be thinking that it doesn't make too much sense, because applications are smart enough that it can uninstall the old version and it can install the new version. But that's not so simple thing. Think about a scenario that you are trying to replace a browser. You are using a Chrome, but now started to use the Edge. So when you are deploying an Edge, you can provide the supersedence to Chrome. So it is going to uninstall the Chrome and install the Edge. So it's not the upgrade of one version to another, but it's an upgrade. Means you are getting rid of one browser and trying to install another one. I think now it makes sense, right? So now we are going to discuss about the flowchart, how that application, when the application is created, how it reaches the client side on the device, how it behaves. Think about it, the application is created and deployed to a device. Deployed to device means it is targeted to a collection. Once the client receives the policy, the very first thing, it's not going to simply go and install the application. It is going to check whether that application is required or not. So required means it is going to check whether that minimum settings, disk space, RAM, or whatever you have specified, or minimum operating system, it is going to check that. If that applicability or required is showing as no, means it is not required, that application will not be offered to the device and it will be marked as not applicable. Of course, not applicable, it is not valid for this device. If it passes the check that yes, application is required, the second pillar of the application will be coming is detect, to detect the application. So can you see the detection is not happening at the first. First, the requirement is happening to check whether the application is required or not. then the detection is going to happen. So now second thing is detection logic come into picture. It will check whether the application is present on the device or not. If application is already present, it will be marked as app installed and will be reporting that to SCCM. It will be marked as installed, or I can say compliant. If application is not detected, then what? Application is going to trigger? No. Once again, the third pillar of the application deployment will come, that is dependency check. The application is going to check if there is any dependency set within the application. For example, app 1, app 2, I'm just giving you an example that these two applications maybe we have set. If application is not set, if this application dependency is set, those applications are going to be installed. If not, then it is going to check the fourth pillar of the application, that is called supersedence. So what exactly supersedence is doing? To check if it is superseding any other application or not. If that it is superseding other application, it is going to uninstall that application. If there is no supersedence, then only the application installation is going to be triggered. So application installation triggered means it is going to download the content in Windows CCM cache into specific directory, and the application installation is going to be executed. So if you wanted to understand about the complete flow of the log file, that how log file, each and every log file component shows about. So troubleshooting, I created another video, troubleshooting Windows application deployment. You can check on the I'm just going to provide the link. You can click on that link and you can watch that video. Once the application installation is triggered, if it fails, for somehow the application fails, it is going to be marked as failed and non-compliant. Easy. If application gets successful, it doesn't mean that immediately it will be marked as installation done. It is going to do a detection one more time. So this detection is going to make sure whether the application, whatever the installation is done, whether that detection is working fine or not. Means your detection method should be exactly doing the correct thing. So if it is not able to detect the application, not installed, not compliant. So this is where I see a lot of questions and the issue coming, that people used to say that their application is installed but still showing as failed. You know why? Because you might be using a wrong detection logic. So your detection method should be exactly precise, which is able to detect the application, whether you are using MSI code, whether your MSI code is a simple thing. Majorly it happens when someone is using a PowerShell script or some kind of a logic where it is not able to detect the application even though it is present. So be careful. So if application is detected, finally it will be marked as app installed and compliant. These are the three most important log file for the SCCM application troubleshooting, or if you wanted to look into it to capture the information. So I'm just going to capture this flowchart one more time to demonstrate you what kind of information, what I discussed, what you can see into these log files, and what exactly it will be written. So let's come to the application deployment. Application is created and targeted to the collection. Then what? It is going to check whether the application is required or not. So where you can find that information? In the log file AppIntentEval. So AppIntentEval.log will give you the information whether that application is applicable or not applicable. Applicable means yes, it is required. Not applicable means done. We don't require that application. Simply mark as we don't need it. Next is the detection logic. So detection logic means trying to discover the application. So here you have to look the AppDiscovery.log. In AppDiscovery.log, it will show you application not discovered. Similarly, this information is also there in AppEnforce.log. So in AppEnforce, you will be able to find this information. Don't worry, I'm going to explain about these three log files into next slideshow. Okay, so another log file is AppIntentEval. So AppIntentEval will give you status of current state like installed, compliant, not installed versus not compliant. So for example, in this case, if application is not discovered, it is going to show you as a not installed, right? At this moment, it will show you not installed. Now dependency check and supersedence check will come into picture. All this information will be captured in AppIntentEval. So you might be thinking that I'm talking too many things, that this information is there in this log file, this is in the log file. So stay with me. In next slide, I'm going to make things crystal clear to you. Okay, once the application installation is triggered, the information will be captured in AppEnforce.log. And once the application is installed, I told you that it is going to do the detection one more time. You can find that information to AppDiscovery.log. It will be showing as the application discovered. AppIntentEval.log will also show you that current state is showing as installed versus compliant. And finally it will be done. So now let's discuss about the log files for application deployment. These are the three log files which I told you, which I showed you in the slide, that track flow. So AppEnforce, I would call this AppEnforce.log as a master log file, which captures every information related to the application deployment, downloading of the content, executing of the content. It also shows you the command line, and finally the installation done, exit code. Everything will be captured in this AppEnforce.log. Another log file, important log file, is AppDiscovery. As the name suggests, AppDiscovery, it is going to discover the log file. It is going to discover the application, whether that application is present on the device or not. But AppDiscovery itself is not such a great log file. The real thing is happening for all discovery, everything happening in the AppIntentEval.log. So everything, what I mean to say is, it is doing all kind of checks whether app is there or not. If application has any dependency, if it has any supersedence or not. So every kind of check for that application will be captured in AppIntentEval. There are some less important log files such as cache.log, content transfer manager.log, data transfer services.log. I'm not saying it's useless log file, but less important, because these log files are valid for any software update, package deployment, task sequence, or everything. For application deployment log file, AppEnforce, AppDiscovery, AppIntentEval. Just remember the word app. Anything starts with app is related to the application deployment. See, I created the previous video, right, that track SCCM application deployment through client log flow. So I highly recommend that you need to watch that video as well if you wanted to understand about the complete log file flow. I have explained everything in too much detail related to the log file. Okay, so I'm heavily concentrating upon one thing: the pillars of application deployment: requirement, detection, dependency, supersedence. But until unless you don't know the exact information what is captured into the log file, you can't make progress. So here I have captured few things for you. For example, if I look into the AppIntentEval.log, so this is an application. This application starts with 1536. It's a GUID of the application. So it has captured the information: current state, compliant, applicability, applicable, result state, compliant. So what exactly it means? Okay, let's see. The first thing is applicability. Applicability means whether that application is required or not. Applicability or requirement, it's the same thing. So it will show you whether application is applicable or not applicable. Second thing is current state. So current state means what exactly is the state of that application, whether it's installed, not installed, compliant, non-compliant. And the result state is what exactly is expected out of this application. So result state is different from the current state. Result state means if you are deploying an application, it might be marked as installed, means might be marked as installed, means that we are targeting this application and it should get installed. So don't confuse result state with the current state. Result state means the desired state of the application, that we desire this state of the application. I'm giving another example. I targeted an application, current state is showing as not installed, means yes, currently it is not installed. Applicability is applicable. Yes, the requirement check was done and this application is required. Result state is installed, means the application wants that it should get installed as part of the application installation. So it means once the application triggers in, the result state equal to installed will also become current state is equal to installed or compliant. Installed and compliant is same thing. AppIntentEval is also going to capture information related to dependency and supersedence. I'm just capturing one information. Just have a look that for the Notepad++, so it has a direct selected dependency. So it is, you can see over here in that log file, AppIntentEval, you will be able to see that .NET Framework 3.5. I'm just giving you an example that in Notepad++, I provided .NET Framework 3.5 as a dependent application. So what is going to happen, that even though I have targeted Notepad++ only, it is going to install .NET Framework and Notepad, Notepad++ both. Another example, that for the 7-zip, I have targeted the 7-zip and I'm superseding the application WinRAR. So it is showing as 7-zip 24.09. It is superseding, or it is going to uninstall the WinRAR. So I'm just treating like WinRAR an old application. My organization is trying to get rid of WinRAR and they are upgrading to 7-zip. So this is one of the use case as well. So now we have to go through few demos. I will be giving you demo for 5 different applications with different settings. For example, one application would be, demo 1 will be for single deployment type, very simple. The second demo will be the multiple deployment types and supersedence. Here detection method requirement will be built in. The demo 3, single dependency with deployment type and dependency. I am going to show you a dependency. Demo 4 and 5 are going to be a bit complex, because in demo 4 I'm going to show you a requirement. So I told you the requirement can be inbuilt requirement or it can be a custom in form of a script. So I'm going to show you a simple basic script where you can create your own custom requirement and how it works. And finally, the demo 5 is multiple deployment types with detection method as a custom script and the requirement also as a custom script. So when I'm talking about the requirement as a custom script, means I'm talking about the global condition. So we are going to have a look into the global condition as well. So don't worry, I'm going to cover everything in detail so that you have a good idea. So let's come to the SCCM console. I have logged on to my SCCM server. So these are the 5 demos which I'm going to give you. I have created an application, WinRAR. So if you wanted to create an application from the scratch, you need to watch the part 1 of the video where I have exactly shown from the scratch that how the application is created. So this application is a very simple application with the deployment type. It's a MSI file. Very simple thing. So there is no rocket science, very simple application. I just selected the MSI. Application got created automatically with everything. So let me just show you how this application is looking like. Okay, so this is the deployment type which I have created. So if I edit the application, I can see I have specified the command line for the install and uninstall. Detection method. So this is the inbuilt detection method where I am checking that to look for the WinRAR.exe and the version 7.13.0. Simple, right? And other things like requirement, return curve, dependency, nothing is there. Can you see? Nothing is there, right? So all good. Let me deploy this application. The application is deployed. Now I have logged on to Windows 11 device. Let me initiate the policy to expedite the process. Usually it takes 1 hour of time. So I'm just expediting the policy. Let me launch the software center. I can see the WinRAR application 7.13 is present. So it is available on the device. Let me do the installation. Application is installed now. If I go to the add remove programs, I can see WinRAR got installed. And here I can see the information. I would like to show you more into the log files, that what kind of information was captured. Before that, I need to go to the SCCM server. So WinRAR, the information what I'm looking for is the application ID. Application ID, can you see 9644D? So I'm just interested, just initial 4-5 characters are okay to make a note of it. 9644D. Once again, I'm on Windows 11 device. If I go to the Windows CCM logs, I told you AppEnforce is the master log file. So if I open the AppEnforce, you can have a look that starting install enforcement of the application. The application name is also written over here. Initially, the application was not discovered. So can you see that here the information? So I can see the application is showing as not discovered. Here it is showing the silent command line of the installation, AppEnforce environment, and preparing the directory for the installation. See Windows CCM cache 1. This was the command line, and finally the execution is done. Exit code 0. So it covered a lot of things. I was telling you about app discovery also. App discovery is just going to discover the file. That's see, performing the detection of the app deployment type WinRAR, application not discovered, did not detect the app. So this information was passed on to AppEnforce. AppEnforce did the installation. Now the third log file, AppIntentEval. So this log file will show you all the status related to what exactly happened. This log file will show you related to all the features related to requirement, dependency, detection logic, everything. It will show you the discovery and everything, right? So it is showing us, see, no dependencies for the deployment type, no dependencies. It's showing this thing, it's evaluating the thing, right? And for me, the important thing is I would like to show you is the let me show you. Yeah, this one. So here I can see the current state is showing as not installed. Applicability is applicable, means it is required. Result state is available, means we have made this application available. Result state means right now it's not installed. Current state is showing we are not installed, but we have made it available. This is the information. So now let me go to the last line, one of the last line. So when the application installation was done. So now current state is showing as installed, applicability is applicable, and result state is available. So again, result state is available, and finally the state is changed. Current state is compliant, applicability is applicable, result state is compliant. So I told you the install and compliant is same thing, right? So installation was done and the device was marked compliant against this application. This is the application information in AppIntentEval. I can see 9644D. The information was captured over here. Here also I can see required the application 9644D, required application 9644D. Now I am coming to the second application, 7-zip. So in 7-zip, I have created two deployment types, 64-bit and 32-bit. So what does it mean by two deployment types? So why I can't create two separate applications? Yes, I can do this two separate applications. But if I'm going to create two separate applications, I have to deploy it separate to two different collections, or maybe same collection, right? By using the requirement. Why not I bundle all the applications, all the versions of the same application into one single application in the form of deployment type? So even though it looks like one single application, there are actually two applications inside it. So these two applications are eventually called deployment types, and each application will be applicable for its own architect. For example, I downloaded 64-bit version, and in the requirement tab, I specified 64-bit. For 32-bit, I provided 32-bit of architect. So same thing I can do. The third one also I can create. The ARM-based application can target on ARM-based architecture. So creating a multiple deployment types is simple. So this is the simple way how you created a normal application. So if I go to the property of this application in deployment type, you can see one application is here. Then I went simply created add and created another application. So you can have multiple applications within one. You can have multiple deployment types within one application. Okay, now let's have a look into the for workstation. What exactly it means? So this 64-bit I'm using for the workstations, and 32-bit I'm using specifically for the servers. That was my use case. So if I click on the first one, content, programs, normal thing, detection method got created automatically, and requirement thing. When I'm going to the requirement thing, click on edit. You can see I have selected all the 64-bit version. For example, Windows 11, 64-bit. Similarly, Windows 10, 64-bit, right? I can select other OS as well, but just I wanted to go with 10 and 11, 64-bit. Done. So there is no dependency, nothing is there. That's it. Similarly, for x86 version, 32-bit version, if I go over here, I have specified Windows 10 32-bit version, and maybe for Windows 11 also I can go. Windows 11 does not come with the 32-bit version, right? So I can also, the one thing I have done wrong is I have specified the name as server, so probably my use case was wrong. So I could have gone with this approach, all Windows Server 2008 32-bit, maybe 2012 16, I can select it, right? So you understand that what exactly I mean to say. The workstation thing means I'm just using a 32-bit version to be targeted on my device. Now let's go to the supersedence. So in supersedence, I clicked on add and added the WinRAR, and I'm mentioning it as uninstall. So what I'm looking for here is that this application should be uninstalling the WinRAR and installing the 7-zip version. This is what I did, and I'm going to target as a required application. So when I right click and deploy, this is not giving me any option that which deployment type I'm going to select. You know why? Because I'm going to select one collection based upon whatever the deployment type means, architect level, the settings, what I have specified, it is going to pick that value. So I'm just going to select my collection. I'm making it required application. Application is deployed now. Once again in Windows 11 device, let me initiate the machine policy to expedite the process. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. The application should trigger automatically. I can see 7-zip application is available now, so it is going to be installed automatically. That's what the expectation is. And the expectation is that it is also going to uninstall the WinRAR. So I'm going to see that information, and we need to verify that thing via log file as well. So let me watch the programs and features. Yeah, WinRAR is gone and 7-zip is present now. The application installation is done. So let me quickly have a look into the log files. So when I go into the log file, let's see the perform detection of the application WinRAR. So can you see the very first thing is it detected based upon that flowchart which I explained you, right? So it was looking for that, yes, there is a supersedence, so WinRAR needs to be uninstalled. So uninstall.exe triggered, the uninstallation was done. After that, the discovery of main application 7-zip was running. Application not discovered because it was not discovered. It tried installing it, msi exec/i.msi, exit code 0. Once the installation was done, discovered the application, done. I can see the similar information in app discovery, only related to the discovery of the application. So did not detect the application of WinRAR. Before that, it will be showing as the detected app WinRAR, because the WinRAR application was detected. It was marked as uninstallation. It was targeted for the uninstallation and everything was done. So discovery, discovered, not discovered, that kind of information will be there. So now when I look into the AppIntentEval, let me not show you the initial lines, just the one of the last lines, right? So if I look over here, so if I look into the AppIntentEval.log, right? So one of the last lines, if I see, so for example, if I see the second last line, the application, if I see the last line 1536, that was the application for the 7-zip, it is marked as compliant. Applicability was applicable and result state is also compliant. So the application was starting with 1536. So I can see another values of 1536 over here. The previous one installed, the result state is also installed, right? So, and 1536 other values also. If I go over here, it was showing as not compliant. Result state is compliant. So current state is non-compliant means currently it is non-compliant, but this is the result. That's what the expectation is. And here the applicability is showing as applicable. So it's not showing as available. Applicable means it's a forced deployment. Let me uninstall the application 7-zip because this is going to be used for my third demo. 7-zip is on. I'm deleting the 7-zip deployment because I don't want to install it forcefully. The reason is my third demo is Google Chrome, where I have set the dependency. So dependency, what I have set is 7-zip. So If I go to deployment type, Google Chrome, once again, it's a simple application, MSI. The only thing what I have specified here is dependency, that use 7-zip as a dependency and automatically install. So I'm forcing 7-zip to be installed as part of the Google Chrome. So even without targeting 7-zip, if I target Google Chrome, it is going to install. So this way, actually, I can install multiple applications. I can provide the group name, I can add multiple applications. All those applications, a part of Google Chrome, will be installed. So I think makes a good sense that if you wanted to force multiple applications in a single go, this is to go forward if you are looking for that option. Let me deploy this application now. I'm making it a required application, the forceful installation. Once again, I'm on Windows 11 device. Let me initiate the machine policy. So now the expectation is Google Chrome should be installed and 7-zip also. So if I go over here, can you see right now 7-zip, Google Chrome, both are not there. If I refresh it, 7-zip is there. Google Chrome is installing right now. So we have to just wait. Google Chrome is also installed. If I refresh the page, yes, 7-zip, Google Chrome, both are present. So if I look here, Google Chrome application is showing as the application ID 58AC. This is what the information I would be looking for. Let me directly jump to the AppIntentEval. Yes, I can see over here the 58AC showing as non-compliant, applicability applicable, result state compliant. So it is looking for the state as it should be marked as compliant. Here is the important information. You can see Google Chrome Windows installer. So it is showing as the selected dependencies. There is a typo error. I think that's a Microsoft code, right? So the error, the typo error over here. But overall, the important information is that 7-zip 24.09 for workstations. Yes, it is showing as a dependency. And based upon that, the dependency also got installed. And finally, Google Chrome and 7-zip both are there. If I look the information to the AppEnforce, I will be seeing the similar information, Google Chrome installation, 7-zip installation, all things happening within that same time frame, right? First 7-zip got installed, then Google Chrome. Now let me come to the fourth one. The fourth and fifth demo till now, 1, 2, 3, I did not work on any script or something, means everything was based upon the inbuilt requirement, detection logic, dependencies. Now let's make things a bit complex. It's not so complex, you will be able to understand it quite easily. So I have made things easy in terms of the deployment type. There is only one deployment type for Notepad++. But what exactly I have done over here, let's have a look. So this will be having a detection method, but the requirement, the applicability means requirement, I am using a custom requirement, and I have also set a dependency. Let's have a look. If I'm going to the deployment type, Notepad++, it's an MSI based. Basic command lines, detection method over here. If I look into it, I'm using the inbuilt detection method only, right? That to look for Notepad++ exe and the version. Simple, right? But what exactly I'm looking for the requirement. So requirement means here I'm using this requirement to look for Windows 11 24H2 version. Means Notepad++ should get installed at 24H2. Why I'm using this requirement? Let's have a look. Can I see any inbuilt rule for the Windows 11 24H2? Have a look. Operating system, Windows 11. Windows 11 ARM64 Enterprise Multi-Session 64-bit. I can see these versions. It is not giving me the version of 23H2, 24H2, right? So I can't select that option. So if any option is not present, then what? This is where my use case is coming into picture. If any specific application needs to be deployed for a specific operating system version, then I have to use this logic. Though my Notepad can install on any 64-bit version, but for the demo purpose, I'm just explaining you, right? So how I did that? This, if I click on edit, can you see that OS build? This is a custom condition. custom requirement, or I could say it's a global condition. OS build Windows 11 24H2 value equals true or false. So it is giving true or false because I have created a script in a way which is giving a Boolean expression, true or false. So you have only two options to select with. So where exactly I can do this thing? If I have to create a custom requirement, you can directly go and create from here. See, device user inbuilt. If I have to go to custom one, these are the global conditions which I have already created. But if you have to create a new global condition, you can click on create, specify any name rather than registry, go to the select the script, and you have to provide the data type and the script. But why create something over here within the application? I think it's not the best approach that you are creating an application and on the go creating the global condition. No, that's not the way. I'm just going out and let me go to I'm opening another console, and within the application management, below this application, I can see there is a global condition. So I have already created the global condition. So let me just explain that what kind of global condition I have created. And don't worry, whatever the script I am going to show you, I will be uploading those things into the GitHub repository, and the links will be mentioned in the video. So if I right click, this is one of the global condition I'm using. See, I have two versions of the global condition for Windows 11 24H2 and version 02. One is the Boolean expression, one is string. I'm just going to show you both. So Windows 11 24H2, let me see the Boolean one. So I'm looking for an output as a Boolean. Boolean means true or false. Let's look over here. So this is the script. Let me copy this script into the PowerShell ISE so that you can have a proper visibility. Let me remove the second line, not required. Okay, so version information is stored in this specific location of registry. So what I'm looking for is that Windows 11 24H2 build version is 26100. So if that current version is 26100, then write host as $true. So I'm returning a Boolean expression as true. I can use write dash host, I can use write dash output, whatever you want, right? So both are same. Write dash output is more better. Write dash host I used to prefer when I am using for some testing, when I'm using a color coding by hyphen foreground. So I usually use that thing. So once I run it, it will give the value true or false, right? So here it is not giving any value because I'm running on a server. Meanwhile, let me just make some small change so that to give you a kind of a demo, right? So I'm just running this value. See, I'm on a server. So my server version is 20348. Think about it. If I'm replacing it with 20348, then what is going to happen? If I run it, see, I got the value true, right? So I'm just reverting the change. So you understood that I got the value true because of this 2610, whatever I'm putting the value, right? Okay. And I think I can also use, see what I did, I included rather than using equal to, I use -n. Now I'm using two quotes. So for example, you wanted to create a global condition which is valid for two operating systems. I can go with this thing also, right? So you have multiple options. Let's come back to my global condition. So you can see that global condition, the script is written over here, right? Okay, let me click on cancel. So I can see the data type is Boolean. So this is what actually I was using in that Notepad++. I can do it in a different way also. Windows 11 24H2 version 02. Let's see what exactly it captures. So rather than the data type as Boolean, I'm using it as a string. So see, string means, let's have a look here. Rather than using write host as $true, I'm using write host as compatible. So it means rather than putting the value as true, selecting the value as true, I have to type as a compatible, right? What does it mean? Let's have a look. So for this specific purpose, I have a demo 4B Notepad++. Let me go over there. Deployment type, edit. requirement. So here, see v02, the value is compatible. So now here I have to type the value compatible, right? So I type something and based upon that. But I prefer a value of true or false because here there could be a typo error. You can make some mistakes, but it's up to you how you wanted to manage. So I have version 1, version 2. I have shown you both, and both will be copied into the GitHub repository. You can explore, you can make your changes based upon the OS build version, whatever you like. My preference would be using a value of $true, means as a Boolean output. So this application also has a dependency, Notepad++, edit, dependency. So I'm using a .NET Framework 3.5, Windows 11 24H2. So if I target Notepad++, .NET Framework will be installed. Both applications will be available over there. So I'm not going to show you the Notepad++. The process will remain same. Let's directly come to the demo 5, .NET Framework 3.5, which actually I'm really excited because of specific reason. Let me show you. Demo 5. Demo 5 has two priorities. It has two deployment types. One is .NET Framework 3.5, Windows 11 22H2, 23H2, and 24H2. So what does it mean 22H2/23H2? See, .NET Framework 3.5, this .NET Framework, though we have 4.7, 4.8, I think 4.9 as well, but the old version of .NET Framework 3.5 can require compatibility with some old application. So few organization or few application might still require .NET Framework 3.5. By default, .NET Framework 3.5 is not available, is not enabled, installed on the operating system, the new operating system. You have to enable it, or I would say install it, and that installation can be done via a feature on demand. So feature on demand. So Microsoft provides, when every new OS is released, they provide a feature on demand ISO, which can be downloaded, which contains the language pack and so many other items related to WMI and languages, .NET Framework. So the list is very big. So based upon that specific OS, you can install those components. So .NET Framework 3.5 is that component. So that component changes with every OS. So with 22H2, 23H2, that version did not change. For 22, 23H2, same .NET Framework, same feature on demand was valid. But with 24H2, Microsoft released a new feature on demand, right? So with 25H2, I'm not sure whether they will be providing the same FOD or maybe something new, but this is what the Microsoft documentation will clarify. So I can have multiple priorities. For 25H2 in future, I can create that also. For the old 21H2, I can create that also. Another thing is there is a priority feature. If I right click, can you see the increase and decrease priority? Does priority going to make any difference? See, if your deployment types are set for a specific requirement type, which is going to capture the information of 22 and 23H2 separately and 24H2 separately, then this priority is of no use, because one application will be applicable for one thing. But think about it, if you have screwed up with the application, for example, one is applicable for all Windows 11 device and one is for all Windows 11 64-bit, then what? The first one is going to be executed, not the second one, because the priority is less for that one. Less means the lower the number means higher the priority. Correct? So just make sure when you are creating an application with multiple deployment types, it should be crystal clear on how it needs to be handled, or else priority will come into picture. Okay, it's enough. Now let's have a look into the .NET Framework 3.5 application. If I go to the properties, I told you it has two deployment types. Let me select the first one, 22H2, 23H2, right? So content is there. This is the program for the installation. Why I'm picking the .NET Framework 3.5 as the last one? Because I felt that it is one of the most complex demo as compared to the other four. Why? The reason is, here the detection method. Can you see I'm not using the inbuilt one? To detect the .NET Framework 3.5, I thought using a PowerShell, which will be much more better option. So if I click on edit, it is checking the Windows capability. So Windows capability net FX3. So if that capability has output as installed, the output will be written as write host netfx3 is installed. See, don't get confused that what I am writing, write host netfx is installed. It can be write host installed, write host abc, def, anything, xyz. It needs an output for any application to be marked as the detection method. There should be an output. That output can be anything. So don't simply fall into the trap that .NET FX3, why Manish is mentioning about that this is mentioned. You can write down anything because it's not calling anywhere. It requires an output. If there is no output, means application is not detected. If I delete this line, application will be installed, but finally it will be marked as not detected because there was no output. So that's why that's why I would say that detection method using the script, you have to be very careful because you are responsible for detecting the application in terms of providing an output. But if you are using the inbuilt rules, Microsoft, the application detection works like a charm, right? So try not to use it until there is a requirement. Okay, so this will be copied into the GitHub repository via link. So don't worry about it. Second thing is detection method. I'm using script to make things complex. For requirement also, I'm using a script. OS build 22h2, 23h2. And this requirement is again a global condition which I showed you, right? So nothing special, right? So you know about. So what I mean to say is this demo 5 .NET framework provides an best example of all the complicacy into a single application where 22h2 might be requiring a different code application, 24h2 would be requiring a different one, detection method requires a script, and the requirement also require a kind of a specific logic. Means I'm doing so many things at one time. I can specify dependency also, other things also, but here I'm checking with the requirement and detection method. Let's see how this will go. This application is already available to all workstations, so I think I'm good. So let's have a look. The application is showing a EBD57. I have logged on to Windows 11 device. So if I go to the add remove programs, turn Windows feature on or off, .NET Framework 3.5 is not installed as of yet. It's not marked. I'm launching Software Center, Microsoft.NET Framework 3.5. Let me initiate the installation. While it is getting installed, let me directly have a look into the AppEnforce.log. Right now I can't see any activity. I'm just waiting for something to happen. Yes, I can see the activity starting install enforcement. Application is not discovered. Working directory is set. It is running the command PowerShell execution bypass -file install.ps1. Installation is in progress. It might take some time. Meanwhile, I can check the app discovery. Application was not discovered, did not detect the application. Of course, the installation is happening right now. Let me go to the AppEnforce. The application status is showing as current status is not compliant. Application is applicable. Result state is compliant. Result state means this application needs to be marked as compliant. So we are waiting whether it will become compliant or not. After waiting for a couple of minutes, I can see the installation is done. Exit code is showing as 0. Discovered the application. So if I look into the AppIntentEval, the application with EBD570 is showing as compliant, applicable, result state as compliant. So everything is done. I hope this video was quite informative and you learned something good. Please subscribe if you really like that video. Thank you so much.